You're listening to WTIM, your information station. It's time now for your expanded local news. The Taylorville Kiwanis Club heard about school buildings, additions, and renovations from Taylorville School Superintendent Brandy Bruley at their Tuesday noon meeting at the Moose Lodge. Bruley outlined several upgrades of curriculum this past year, ongoing and planned building projects as well. She talked about 3 building projects the school board is focused on, using the county's 1-cent sales tax for school buildings to fund some $15 million in bonds. A new architect will be hired for these 3 projects.
We are in the process right now of hiring a new architect firm, and the Board of Education just recently put into for a bond resolution that we are seeking a $15 million for a bond that will not come to the taxpayers because it's used with 1-cent facilities tax. That law came into place or was voted in by the taxpayers 2016-ish, don't quote me on that year. But when you go to purchase things within Christian County, that extra 1-cent sales tax goes directly to school districts, and it can only be used for facility upgrades.
Bruley shared which building projects are now on the Taylorville School Board's radar.
The board came to a conclusion of the 3 areas that we're going to use that $15 million for, and those include a fine arts center, renovations to North School. We have some overcrowding issues going on there, and then taking a look at Memorial. Memorial is an aging building, so we're trying to see what we can do to better support Memorial, do something there. So those are the 3 areas of focus that we're working on right now. That's the great news, but as you know, bad news is it takes time. We're in the process of getting an architect, then we do designs, then we talk about the finances that we have together based on those 3 major projects that we have going on and what we can do with each to make sure that we're meeting the needs of what we discussed during board meetings.
Bruley has now been on the job as Taylorville School Superintendent for just under a year. The Taylorville Kiwanis Club is part of a global organization of volunteers dedicated to improving the world one child and one community at a time. Weekly meetings are held Tuesdays at noon at the Taylorville Moose Lodge. For more information on the club, go to taylorvillekiwanis.com. The Taylorville Municipal Band continues its 2025 season with its 3rd concert on Wednesday, June 25th at 7 p.m. This week's performance will take place at the Christian County Historical Society and is free and open to the public to attend. As part of this year's theme, Play the Music Forward, the band is spotlighting former members and alumni from both the band and Taylorville High School. These special guests will be featured throughout the season as performers, soloists, and conductors. Donations collected during the season go to the Play the Music Forward Fund, which helps support music programs at Taylorville schools. This week's concert welcomes several special guests, including author and educator Fred Durbin, a former band member who will be performing in the trombone section. The concert also features several members of the Ninmer family. Ron Ninmer will be recognized as a featured composer. Jean Ninmer and Brianna Flanagan will join the clarinet section and will be highlighted as soloists. Kennedy Ninmer will also be featured as a soloist. Scott Ninmer will perform in the euphonium section and will contribute both as a soloist and composer. Mark Ninmer rounds out the family group as a percussionist and soloist. The evening's program includes a diverse selection of pieces such as Pace Fanfare by Scott Ninmer, Imperata Overture by Claude T. Smith, For Good by Stephen Schwartz and arranged by Scott Ninmer, At a Dixieland Funeral by Jared Spears, and the classic King Cotton March by John Philip Sousa. Other selections include Allegra by Ron Ninmer and the Tornado Drill March by Scott Ninmer, and much more. Learn more about the Taylorville Municipal Band and its performances by visiting them at their Facebook page. With extreme heat and rising humidity expected across the state, the Illinois Department of Transportation is warning drivers to watch out for pavement blowouts. Pavement blowouts happen when long stretches of high temperatures cause roads to expand and buckle or crack, creating hazardous driving conditions. Humidity and rain can make that problem worse. If you see a pavement issue while traveling, you are encouraged to report it to IDOT by calling 800-452-4368 or by contacting local law enforcement through 911. IDOT also reminds drivers to take precautions when traveling in the heat, especially to carry water. If your vehicle was to break down, dehydration can happen fast and pose a serious risk. You can learn about how pavement blowouts occur by watching an informational video on IDOT's website. This will conclude the first portion of your expanded local news. It's brought to you by Taylorville Community Credit Union.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. When you become a member of TCCU, you become an owner and have access to our great loan rates, earn great dividends on our deposit accounts, have access to our full range of financial products, and will receive personal attention from people you know. Membership is open to anyone who lives or works in Christian, Montgomery, and Shelby County. We are conveniently located in Taylorville, Hillsboro, Litchfield, and Pana. You can also visit us online at www.tccu.org. Come join us. You'll wonder why you waited. Member NCUA.
A Shelbyville thrift store continues its mission for coming through for community members in need. Soak Purse provides low-cost, essential goods for the Family Life Center in town. The location is celebrating 2 years of operation, but the organizations have served Central Illinois now for over 3 decades. Dana Sawyer is the manager of Soak Purse in Shelbyville. She says the goods at Soak Purse and the services at the Family Life Center are meant to help families, especially those that have young children.
Soak Purse exists to provide for the Family Life Center. We are completely nonprofit. Everything that we do goes to financially support your local Family Life Center. So all of the services offered at the Family Life Center are free. They can take parenting classes, they can get a sonogram in the early weeks, they can get family help, they can get counseling. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And we can provide financially so that they can bring staff in. They have licensed nurses. They have the people have lots of licensing. It's not just somebody volunteering. These people have doctorates or whatever they need to do the jobs they need to do. And we can pay them. And we're glad to do that. And we're glad to be able to offer all the services for free.
The organizations need volunteers and give plenty of incentives for those who want or need the hours. In addition, their programs are designed to set people up for future success.
One of the greatest opportunities we offer is when a client would go to Family Life Center for educational purposes at all. They are given what we call client cash. It looks like Monopoly money. Mm-hmm. And when they attend educational services over there, they're given that money. They can bring that money to the Soak Purse and use it to purchase anything in the store. There's no limit to what they can purchase. So we've seen a lot of client cash, and we were very happy to see that this week. The other thing we offer is sometimes people are given probationary hours that they need to work off through the court system. If they will bring in their letter from their probation officer, whatever documentation they have, and a form of identification, we can apply them to our facility, and we will work with them to help them work off those hours.
Mary Hobus is the executive director of the Family Life Center. Her journey to that role began as a volunteer at Soak Purse. She has played a major role in making the organization what it is today.
Yes, I'm the executive director at the Family Life Center, but I started 20 years ago as a volunteer at the Soak Purse. Mm-hmm. And so I've been involved with the ministry on that end for many years. And then in 2019, I actually became the executive director of the ministry at the Family Life Center. We had a 5K with the prayer walk, yes. And then we do baby bottles between Mother's Day and Father's Day. That just finished up. That's a fundraiser that the churches do for us. And then our annual banquet is in September. And last year, for the first time, we brought all 3 centers together and had the banquet together in Effingham.
That's cool.
So it was really nice.
The Soak Purse thrift store is located at the Johnstown Mall in Shelbyville. More information is available at silkpursethriftstore.com and on their Facebook page. The Family Life Center is in Shelbyville and located at 225 East South 1st Street. Information on them is available at familylifepcc.org and on their Facebook page. Mary Hobus and Dana Sawyer appeared as guests on the WTIM Shelbyville Morning Show. .4-H and the University of Illinois Extension in Christian County have their calendars set for the many different shows that are coming this summer. Showings will officially begin in July, but the livestock, projects, and work already done has been months in the making. .4-H youth development educator Jessica Jaffrey knows this is an exciting time for fairgoers and all that are involved. Jaffrey talks the lead up to fair season and the fun of getting everyone together for their one cause.
Absolutely. So arguably we're to the most exciting time of the 4-H year. You know, our 4-H year runs very similar to a school year with our youth starting for each 4-H year on September 1st. And then we follow that kind of similar to school calendar to August 1st. So we're about at the end of our year. So our culminating event to really showcase our youth mastery that they've been working through all year long on their passion, their projects, really harnessing those skills is the fair, the 4-H shows. So it's always really exciting to get all the clubs, all the kids, all the volunteers together in one spot at the fair. You know, we see them, you know, multiple times a year between various programs and shows when we get out and visit club meetings. Different things like that, but it's so exciting to have them really kind of all in one place, really showing off all their hard work over the last, 10 months. So it's really exciting times.
Starting on Monday, July 14th, projects and animals will make their way to the Extension's office. On Tuesday, animals will be weighed and confirmed for the livestock shows scheduled for Wednesday night. And on Thursday, July 17th, the foundation will host their auction to wrap up the busy week.
Every single day is action-packed. We got a lot of stuff going on. So on the 14th, we have our general project show. That takes place at the office. So if you're familiar with the office, obviously most of our members are out there on North Webster. So that takes place at 9 a.m., again on the 14th. Then we have our rabbit and our poultry shows. Those are also out at the office. So the rabbit show starts at 2 p.m. and then our poultry show starts immediately after that. So those are going to be really exciting. Then Tuesday, not really a show, but definitely a really important part to the next couple of days. We have to have our livestock weigh-in. So we have that on Tuesday, July 15th. That's out at the fairgrounds, and that starts at 6 p.m. And then we do our livestock shows and our master showmanship. Those also all take place on the 16th out at the fairgrounds. So this year, our lineup for livestock shows, because we do a rotating schedule each year, we'll be starting with swine and then rotating to sheep and goats, and then finishing off the livestock shows with our beef show.
The focus isn't just on the fair, however. On Thursday, June 26th, at the Carlinville Extension office, educators will again host their food challenge. Jaffrey details what to expect from this year's version of the workshop.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually the second time that we'll be hosting this food challenge. It's a really exciting event. I understand sometimes kids will come and they'll say, sounds a little intimidating. Please tell me more. It's one of my very favorite programs. I a lot of times get to do this within a school setting. So last year we actually transitioned to doing this kind of almost as a workshop as well. So we're offering this kind of unit wide. So it's open to all youth within Christian, Jersey, Macoupin, and Montgomery counties. And then also youth that are not in 4-H are of course welcome and encouraged to participate with us. So the essence of the program is really to teach youth about food and kitchen safety and some nutrition, building healthy meals, building a healthy plate in a really fun, engaging, hands-on setting. And then we actually do a little bit of a competition at the end of the day. So what we do is it's a 3-hour program. So it's going to take place on June 26th. It's going to be held in Carlinville.
The 3-hour event will end with a cooking challenge. Attendees will be given ingredients to work with and will then have to incorporate the chosen mystery item to their prepared dish.
Usually the first hour or so of the day talking about food and kitchen safety. Kitchen is arguably the most dangerous room in a home. There's just a lot of things going on, a lot of different hazards in there. When we really kind of break that down and expose what those different things are, highlighting them, talking through when different things happen, how you can handle them, and going through those different steps. And of course, we talk about food safety, cooking foods to the proper temperature, storing them at the proper temperature, and then obviously serving them. And what that means as far as wearing gloves, washing our hands often. We practice washing hands with a fun activity. And then we transition into, for our second hour of the day, into some nutrition. And we talk about what My Plate is and, setting up a well-balanced and nutritious plate for every meal.
Find out more about Christian County 4-H by visiting extension.illinois.edu. Jessica Jaffrey appeared as a guest on the WTIM Morning Show. This will conclude the second portion of your expanded local news. It's brought to you by CNB Bank and Trust.
In Taylorville, we know the value of getting more for your money, and at CNB Bank and Trust, our premium checking account delivers just that. Earn interest on your balance and unlock buzzing perks like local discounts, roadside assistance, and cell phone protection just for banking where you live. Stop by our Taylorville branch today and experience banking with extra benefits. CNB Bank and Trust, helping to open doors since 1854. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Attention continues to focus on the U.S. Senate with the budget reconciliation process, or the One Big Beautiful Bill. Illinois Farm Bureau President Brian Duncan, along with the IFB District 1 Director Mark Tuttle and IFB Young Leader Chair Stephen Riskadal, get an audience earlier this month with Illinois Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. Here's Illinois Farm Bureau Director of National Legislation, Ryan Whitehouse. Senate Republicans are hoping to pass the bill by July 4th. If the Senate passes the bill, it will return to the House for a vote. Moving now to obituaries, which can be found at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and are brought to you by Sutton Memorial Home.
When it comes to organizing your life, Sutton Memorial Home in Taylorville has some words of advice. Consider pre-planning your funeral. The death of a loved one can be a traumatic event in people's lives, and you can spare your family the burden of planning a funeral when they are grieving. Sutton Memorial Home knows that establishing a pre-arrangement assures that important decisions and your personal selection are made in advance and spares your family an additional burden at their time of loss. Sutton Memorial Home in Taylorville. Caring is what they do best.
46-year-old Jeffrey A. Mendenhall of Okanee died on June 23rd. Cremation rights have been accorded, and arrangements will be made at a later date. Funeral arrangements are being handled by McClure Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Taylorville. 84-year-old Lyle Frazier of Edinburgh died on June 1st. Arrangements will be made at a later date, and they are arranged by Masterson Funeral Home in Kincaid. 91-year-old Dwight W. Taylor of Taylorville died on June 12th. Cremation rights have been accorded, and a private graveside service with military honors will be made at a later date at Oak Hill Cemetery in Taylorville. Funeral arrangements are being handled by McClure Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Taylorville. And in a previous obituary, 71-year-old Dale A. Adamitis of Kincaid died on June 12th. Visitation was June 17th. Funeral service was June 18th at 11 a.m. at Masterson Funeral Home in Kincaid. Burial will be at Camp Butler Cemetery with military honors. Get details on these and other local news stories at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com on WTIM. WTIM is your only local news radio.
This is Blaine Cornwell from Prairie State Insurance.